Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I'm Evil Mike. This is going to be a review on comics that I picked up for August 18th, 2021. This is going to be my part one. I got a mix, some indies, Marvel, and DC. First up, we're going to do Dark Horse Comics. This is Tales from Harrow County, issue number 2, and it's titled The Fair Folk. The very beginning is this like introduction of the fair folk and like kind of like their what happened to them in like Earth's history. But basically, it's like after the witch Emma left and forgot about the creatures and monsters and stuff. It just shows that they end up chose to leave the Earth, and they said they knew about the secret path, and it took them to this place underground. Um, it shows that they were like, that some of them were scared and worried and stuff like that. They didn't know what was down there, but they do run into the fair folk, which is I think they take different forms because they show different. Basically, like they kind of the monsters met the fair folk, and of course the monsters like start to eat the fair folk, and they kind of took over. And it catches you up to present day, where the first issue left off, and it's with Georgia and Bernice, and they're down below in one of these tunnels where the fair folk live, and they have this like fake version of Emma the witch that they kind of honor, and like right here you can see and that's what this little guy's doing. He's putting up like sacrifices to the altar of Emma, and that's why supposedly it's all a trick and a trap. Like the fair folk and the monsters have teamed up, and I think they call them different names like haunts, and like these guys she was calling them mockeries, but they kind of tricked Bernice to come down here, because in the first book we saw that after Emma left and did not come back, did not answer any of Bernice's like prayers and stuff like that. That Bernice put this spell on the world, where the world forgot about Emma and the fair folk and the monsters and all that kind of stuff, the haunts, and we do see she's reunited with a friend, because the fair folk eventually capture Bernice and Georgia, because they want Bernice to take away the spells, so people will start remembering about Emma and the monsters, so they can come back into the world. And she is reunited once she's captured with one of her friends called like Priscilla, and and it's kind of weird because I forget what the other girl's name is already. I think it's Georgia, but Georgia is kind of weirded out by Priscilla and stuff, and they kind of show that Priscilla's been locked up there a long time. They do this little backstory with her. They do eventually get, they kind of threaten her, and they take Georgia basically kidnap, and they tell her, hey, unless you use the spell to rewind what you did, they're gonna kill Georgia and Priscilla. So of course she does redo the spell. They do show that all of a sudden the whole world starts remembering about the monsters and everything that's like magical, and also about the witch, and they do show that Georgia remembers something, and she ends up like taking off further down in the tunnels with the fair folk. And then they do also show that the like scarecrow altar witch actually animates with when Bernice does the spell to wash away the original spell. And it's because like people are starting to make prayers to the witch Emma to come back into the world, and it's kind of what the fair folk and the haunts and the mockeries are waiting for, as shown here. And because this like scarecrow thing is magically leading them back out into the world, it was something that they were unable to do when they made the choice to go underground. It was like magically sealed, where they could never come back to the world even if they wanted to. So it was kind of like that they needed like a flashlight, you know, to get back, and that's what that scarecrow was. It was pretty good. I mean, you know, I mean, I'm not gonna say it was like, but it was a really good read. I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't like overly wow or anything, but the art was decent, the story was decent, and that's where I'm gonna leave it. Second up, we got Boom Studios' Eat the Rich #1. It's a big hot one on a lot of people's list. Um, I picked it up because it was on a lot of people's list. I probably would have passed on it. I do like the cover, so I might have picked it up based on the cover because I kind of got like vampire vibes off it, but it's not vampires yet. Maybe, I don't know. It's more like it's in a nutshell. It's like you know, based on the whole let's say you know, rich society and the caste that's out there, and we're basically meeting these two characters right here, and I'm drawing a blanket names, but the man is the wealthy person, and he has his new girlfriend, and they are going home supposedly to the wealthy guy's like family estate and stuff like that, and it's like the first time that he's been back for a long time. They also do this spiel where he hasn't like drinking anything. He used to be a big like alcoholic, and he hasn't touched anything for a while, especially with his new girlfriend. They're kind of like, you know, kind of committed to that. They do hold it, and I will say the art in this book was really, really good. Um, it was just really, really good. I was going to say something else, but I mean, it was altogether nice. They do this moment where they're driving, and then, you know, the guy starts freaking out because he hasn't drinking around, you know, his family and stuff like that, and they've never seen him like that, so he knows it's going to be like a big influence on him when he gets there. The girl kind of talks him back down out of it. We do pull up to the family's estate, and it is a mega big house. You know, just like, I mean, we're talking about like super, super wealthy people. And we kind of run into some of the members of the house. I don't, you know, they show, I think it's right here in this panel right here, these are most of the main family members. You have like the baby, I think a mom, a brother, and they are shown on the front cover, of course. But they do the scene where the baby starts acting up. A nanny kind of takes the baby away. There's also this other scene where when the girl arrives right here, some people try and take her baggage, and she kind of makes a fit, which they show over here, and everybody notices that she doesn't just allow them to take her bags. It kind of goes into the whole rich and society thing, because it's one of the lessons that the book stresses out, because the girl kind of gets the tour of the house, and they have like a big clue to what's going on right here. It's like the first horror panel of the book, but it's supposedly in the kitchens, and it just doesn't really look like any animal that I've ever seen. You know, it looks like something else, but but she kind of like gets tired of the whole like not knowing everybody and being out of the loop, and everybody's nice to her and stuff. But so she ends up taking a break and going out to the beach, and she runs into the nanny that took the baby. And the nanny kind of tells her how dumb she is. For one, she has like this paper clip in her hair, and she's around like mega wealthy people, and the nanny's like, bro, that they're watching your every move, you know, how you dress, you know, everything is, you know, checklist off, you know, as far as what you say, what you're into, you know, I mean, this is high society, and they eat that kind of stuff up, literally. She also tells them that she already made like a couple mistakes just in the first intro. Like she kind of, it's one of the lessons of the book, but she goes into great detail about like, you know, how she should have, you know, just let the guys take her bag, that normal rich people in that situation would have done so, and since she decided to do that, it kind of clued the rich people in to that she is not used to that lifestyle, you know. just by that simple act. Also, by her talking to the nanny, she was like, she makes a comment like, "Oh, if you ever need help with the kid, I used to babysit. You know, I could help you out, take some of the stress off you." And the nanny is like, "No, don't." And she gets mad at her over here, and she's like, "No, you're just not getting this." You know, she was like, "You know, if this is how it's gonna go down," she was like, you know, basically, like, you're gonna get stepped on and stuff. You cannot help to help, because rich people don't do this. And we kind of fast forward to the evening, and they go to this party, and it's a farewell to her boyfriend's nanny, supposedly. And they get there, and how they do this nanny is a roast, and they kind of roast people that the nanny had, had, and it's a guy, but who he had involved, like, while he was working for them and stuff like that. And the girl kind of starts noticing that he's calling out specific names, and these names are like leaving the party, and she kind of gets weirded out about it. As the party's going on, she kind of gets weirded out about it, and eventually, like, they get to the point where, like, the roast is done, and the butler that was being roasted, the nanny, he ends up exiting stage left. There is, like, this whole thing where, like, most of the boyfriend's family is trying to get him to drink again, and he's staying true to not drinking and stuff. During the party, the girlfriend ends up, getting weirded out and wants a break, and she ends up going outside, kind of like the whole beach situation. And she goes outside, and she ends up, seeing some stuff, and all those names that she called out, they were people that were, technically called out to go hunt, and they were going to hunt the nanny down, like, and technically that's the meat of the story is, you work for this family, they take care of you, but eventually, once you get in old age kind of thing, that's what they do, is you play this game, and they hunt you down, and they kill you, and it looks like they eat you. Hence, eat the rich. I mean, for a first read, it was a good book. Honestly, I only seen going one or two ways, because, it's at that point where she was about to get caught, kind of thing, and so it's like, where does it go? Are they're just fatting her up to eat her, or is she gonna do this whole, like, crazy thing where she ends up killing all these, like, cannibals? I don't know, but it was a good read. Next up, we got Aftershocks Beyond the Breach #2. I love the first issue. The second issue, we get a lot more of what's going on. So, we're catching up with her. The breach has happened. All these monsters are everywhere. In the last issue, the little boy that was with this girl got swallowed by that monster. The girl, she is with this little critter guy they show on the cover and stuff, and they are trying to attack this mega beast. This mega beast thing is, like, calling out to her using her sister's voice. Is kind of how he had tricked the little boy. We see in this panel over here that something pops up and kills this thing, like, instantly, and it is revealed that is this guy on a tortoise riding around. He does have this weird mask. He's shown here on the cover, but it's just armor. We find out, and they reveal right here that he just takes it off, and it's an older gentleman under the helmet. I think his name is Simon, if I'm not mistaken, or Samuel or Simon, something like that. And then it's a tortoise, but it is actually named Turtle, and she kind of gets confused by that. But the little boy has also been saved. He was taken out of the creature, and the guy explains some of the things about how, like, the creature was using the voices. Supposedly, it was actually like a pheromone that the creature was releasing, and it was just messing with her brain. That the creature didn't actually say anything at all. But they do explain that he is from a different world. He was, like, doing something like an adventure type thing, hunting down some stuff to eat or something or other, and all of a sudden, there was a bright flash of light, and him and Turtle ended up in our Earth. The girl's still trying to figure out, like, how this is possible. I mean, there's a plane crash right here, and no firemen, no police. There doesn't seem to be a mass amount of people where there should be. she has seen people. It's just not, it seems like the people that would be there are kind of missing. She convinces him to travel into a town, hoping to find like firefighters or the army or police or whatever she can find. So it's kind of like their continued journey and conversation, and them trying to piece together what it is. Through their conversation, it is revealed that the monsters are not from the world that the monster that he first killed was, but that's the only one he knows of. All the other monsters that she saw, because she kind of describes them, and that they're not from his world. And same thing with the creature that she is with. He actually thought he was a native to this world. They do get to the town, and it's not, as you could see in these panels, it's not so friendly and stuff. And as they get there, they are ambushed by a bunch of people, but more on the other lines, like they ambush the people because they find out that the old man is a badass. He quickly cuts off one of the guy's like arms. The turtle grabs another guy. Like the old man is a warrior. Let's just say that. Eventually, the girl jumps in front of the last guy that kind of like is left standing, and he's about to try and shoot, the old man and the girl, which didn't go so well for the other guys. And eventually, through the little girl, the girl like, hey, stop, we're all good, we're trying to figure out. They do kind of talk and everything, and the old man does like reattach the guy's arm using some. It's actually like a tree leech that he brought from his world or whatever, and he says that it has like the healing properties using toxins. But it's to naught, because this guy kind of stands up and starts making a commotion about how it's a miracle, and he's quickly exploded. And we kind of find out some more of what else is going on, because it turns out the old man and the turtle are supposedly fugitives from the world that he comes to, and might be a reason that the breach occurred in the first place. And these are actually like time, portal FBI attack, after this old man and his turtle. So she might be helping like a criminal type, man like that. I will say, as you read it, it didn't really seem like that from everything that the old man was telling the girl. So kind of curious to see where that's going. Maybe it's just an evil team of people, setting them up for some other stuff. I don't know. It was a good read though. I'm still interested to see with the breach and the different monsters. And alright, so next up, DC Comics, we have Batman's Secret Files ClownHunter #1. This is kind of just going into more about Bao, the ClownHunter. Bao is his real name. They kind of go into like what happens right after his parents got killed, due to the events of Joker killing his parents. He was taken in by, I think, his aunt and uncle, and then they put him into a preppy school. As soon as they got there, they saw raised in poverty, and they bullied the crap out of him. Then they jump into like current, like what he was doing during the events right after the Joker War, and he is following down like other Jokers that are still trying to recruit, waiting for Joker to return. He has tracked down this guy named Soul, and he has been supposedly Soul has been recruiting tons of Joker people and stuff, and he's waiting for this guy to take him to a meeting, and so he finally traps him. As you see here, Bao is not so superhero friendly. I mean, if you don't know Bao, Bao is in the Bat family, but he is more like Red Hood. He kills. That's why he's called ClownHunter. He specifically kills anybody that works for the Joker. He's after the Joker and revenge for his parents. He does end up getting this guy to talk, and the guy reveals that it was kind of like a double cross, and he ends up exploding the building that they're in. And but Bao does survive, and so does the other clown, and Bao is kind of messed up. I think he's broken like 3 or 4 ribs. It is also revealed that Punchline is behind all this while she is in jail, and she tells him that this is like, you know, the first part of our plan, that he's kind of dumb, that he has been doing stuff that Batman and the other Bat family members can't do because he is killing, but at the same time he kind of barking up the wrong tree, and he's been killing clowns, so it's time to take him out. He does take a lot of damage, and a lot of damage from his own bat, and they kind of just go back and forth when he was in school, and how he did take a lot of damage, and not only from like a couple bullies, but eventually it was like a whole slew of bullies, and how bullies just don't travel alone. Eventually he does, you know, overcome this guy here, and you know, gets the upper hand and stuff, and again Punchline reveals that you know, and they kind of go back in the past and show you that he has had to deal with mass numbers and not just, you know, some numbers, and how does he deal with it type thing. But Alexis Punchline reveals that, you know, that one guy was not her plan, and neither was the bomb. It was just a calling card to all the other Joker henchmen that were in the area, and they all show up in full force because this guy Saul has just been, you know, kind of biding his time while the call was being made. Bao ends up having to fight, you know, all the other Joker henchmen, and he does a good job where he ends up killing like one or two along the way, but eventually he does get captured and tied up and kind of like hog-tied. They show him right here, and Alexis does this little speech like all supervillains do, but she kind of cuts it a little quick and short, you know, basically telling him that, you know, he's gonna die, and they're gonna show him, you know, make sure the Bat knows that this one failed kind of thing. But eventually, as like kind of last second, someone ends up taking out all the members of the, you know, the clowns that are there, and it is revealed that it's Red Hood. Red Hood has come, and you know, at first Bao's kind of mad. He feels like, you know, because recently Bao has been under Batman's wing. He is, you know, Batman. The last we saw of Bao, he had been taken under the wing of Batman. He was going to be trained under Batman. And this is supposed to be right after that event, but Red Hood has showed up on his own accord. He tells Bao that, and he's like, look, he was like, I know Batman wants to train you in this and that, but you're kind of a little more, you know, my style and stuff. We can team up kind of, you know, and take on the Joker and his henchmen. I mean, we both want the same things, and we both kill kind of thing. And Bao says he does like the offer, but he kind of just runs off and, you know, says that he prefers to work alone, but he does kind of, you know, he does kind of glance at the idea to take up the training part of it. He does kind of mention throughout the book that that's the one thing that he is kind of lacking as far as what he could do better. The one thing I will say about this one was this. I mean, it does say Batman Secret Files, ClownHunter, and then there wasn't really anything really secret in it. Recently with the Huntress, at least you got a little secret in it, you know. I'm just saying. Next up we have, this is the Stormbreakers variant, Peach Momoko, but this is Kang the Conqueror #1. Big MCU guy that's coming, of course, you know, that's why they're dropping this comic. Now this comic was phenomenal. It was really good art. It was, the story setup was really good. It is very wordy, but in the right way. It is basically a story, and you're, you know, Kang, he tells a story about who he was, where he came from. You know, he tells this beginning story about Alexander, about how, you know, Alexander first found out about the stars and stuff, and his comments after that about, like, how even though he had conquered 80% of the Earth or something like that, he was still considered a failure because out of all those stars, like, he couldn't even conquer the one planet type thing. Then they go into Nathaniel Richards, who aka is Kang the Conqueror when he was younger, and he goes into, you know, using that, you know, different things throughout time, you know, and kind of like his origin story here. He you know, doing detective work and going throughout history, he finds this like massive secret hidden library, and he finds out it's one of Dr. Doom's archives, and he ends up breaking in here. And as he gets here, one of Dr. Doom's animate droids wakes up and starts to attack him. Kang the Conqueror shows up at the same time and ends up killing the droid and sending the droid back to where Doom is currently, with a message to tell him that Kang had destroyed the android. Kang the Conqueror reveals that it is him. It's just a future version of it, and he reveals that it is time to follow Kang the Conqueror and become Kang himself. He basically takes him back to all the way in the dinosaur days, and he tells him that this is exactly a year before the meteor will hit the earth, and it will basically restart, and you have a year to become this who I am, Kang the Conqueror. The rest of the book is this whole him training, and he basically jumps, well, he takes Nathan and basically he jumps throughout time, takes him through different moments. He sees a Fantastic Four, the Avengers, I'm pretty sure, like numerous events that Kang has been a part of, and he shows him where he was defeated, how he overcame those things, the way of thinking, how time means nothing to Kang. It's really his bitch, talking about all the immortal and infinite possibilities that can be, and it just takes a number of teachings and learnings for you to outwit everything, kind of thing. He tells him that the one lesson that he needs to learn the truest is to never love, and in one moment they do show the scene where in it, I was on the right page, but it's up here, and the older Kang is drunk one night, back in BC times or whatever, and he kind of portals to this event that Kang was a part of, and it's where he lost his love, Ravonna. After they portal back, and Kang is kind of mad that the younger Kang had seen that moment, but at the same time he was like, it's a teaching lesson. If you can learn anything, it's that that love, if you can just stay away from love as much as possible. And sure enough, on the next page we see that somehow in BC times there were like, and they show her right here, but there were somehow a secret slew of people that had already started, and incidentally it's a lovely young lady that he meets, and he kind of falls in love with this lady, and not only that, but just the people in general. It is found out that this race of human beings were like beyond a lot more advanced for their years, but it had to do with how peaceful they were. He even meets this witch, and the witch kind of tells him and puts this face paint on him. It's shown in these panels about how she knows that he's going to become this Kang the Conqueror, and how he is blessed, and he's going to suffer, but eventually he will conquer. And they show him like partying and having a good time, and it could have gone down a million different ways, and it didn't. It went down like peaceful and happy, and he goes back to Kang, and Kang is just pissed. He's like, bro, well, you left, we still have training to do, and he was like, great, this is another training lesson. He was like, and the kid tells him, he was like, no, you can't do this. He was like, I love, he was like, man, he was like, the first thing I've ever found that I love, and right there when he says that, bam, smacks the crap at him, and he was like, lesson number one, I told you to stay away from the love. He drags his younger self out to the tribe of people and stuff, and Kang already tells him, and Nathaniel still hasn't got it down, but the whole love thing, he's already experienced all this, and he repeats exactly what he says to reverberate that he has been through all this. So he kind of goes through and drags him over here and to the clan, and he decimates, he kills every single, and wipes their whole existence off the planet. Of course, that's why we've never seen those people or whatever. He waits for Kang to get drunk again. This time he actually gets smart and intoxicates the beer further, so makes sure he sleeps. He ends up stealing the armor and puts it on and becomes Kang himself. And as shown right at the last seconds, as the meteor is about to hit, it has exactly been a year, as foretold by Kang when he first teleported here. So in essential, he has become Kang because he portals away and he leaves this Kang here. So this Kang dies, and he goes forth on his journey. He does say that he portals away as far as he can, from that Kang, and incidentally, they do show you that he lands in one of Kang's previous timelines, and this was when he was a pharaoh in Egypt. So, kind of looks like this younger Kang is going to be hopping through major parts